In a world where the first impression of a website can make or break users' experience, the importance of efficient, responsive web design has never been more critical. As developers, we strive not just for functionality but for speed and aesthetics, ensuring our websites stand out in today's saturated digital landscape. Hello and welcome to our tutorial on revolutionizing your web development workflow with Tailwind CSS, especially within PHP projects. I am Ayazafar, and if you have ever found yourself wrestling with CSS, spending hours to get that perfect responsive design, then you are in the right place. Tailwind CSS is a utility-first framework that empowers developers to build custom designs quickly and efficiently without ever leaving your HTML. It's about writing less custom CSS and achieving more with a vast library of predefined classes that can be composed to create unique designs. Today, we are diving into how to seamlessly integrate Tailwind CSS into your PHP projects. Whether you are working directly with raw PHP or leveraging a framework like Laravel, this tutorial is designed to enhance your development process, making it more streamlined and enjoyable. Having navigated the realms of web development for over a decade, I have encountered my fair share of challenges and breakthroughs. From building dynamic PHP applications to embracing the elegance of Tailwind CSS, I have seen firsthand the transformative impact of integrating these powerful tools. Stay with me as we explore setting up your environment, integrating Tailwind CSS with PHP, and unblocking the full potential of your web projects. Whether you are a beginner eager to learn or seasoned developer looking to optimize your workflow, this tutorial has something for everyone. Let's dive in and transform the way you approach web design with Tailwind CSS and PHP. Before we jump into the world of Tailwind CSS and PHP, let's make sure we have all necessary tools and knowledge at our disposal. This tutorial is designed to be accessible whether you are working on an existing PHP or starting from scratch. For those of you looking for a consistent development environment across different operating systems, Docker offers an excellent solution. Docker is a platform that allows developers to package applications into containers, compact, lightweight, and portable configurations. This means you can easily share and deploy applications without worrying about the underlying environment. Setting up Docker for your PHP environment is a straightforward process, so let's go through the steps. First, ensure Docker is installed on your system. You can download it from the Docker website and follow the installation instructions for your operating system. So let me quickly show you if my Docker is working or not. So open the terminal and type command docker -- version, and it is saying it is working. Now let's create a folder where we will create our project. Okay, I created a folder with the name PHP. I will open that folder in the VS Code editor. Here I will create a file, Docker file. So this is a simple text file that contains the instruction to build our Docker image. So let's add some basic code in Docker file tailored for a PHP project. So for that we will get the image from PHP 8.0 - Apache. You may use a different as well if you want to, and then use copy, and here we will mention the source. Next we will copy the file from the source directory to the var folder www/html folder of the Docker container. Next we will expose the port 80 in this way. Okay, so this Docker starts with a PHP image with Apache installed, copies your project files to correct directory in the container, and exposes the port 80 for web traffic. With Docker file in place, navigate to your project directory in the terminal and run this command to build your Docker image. Docker build -t to tag your image and the name of the image php-app, and provide the context location of your project for the Docker file. So press enter. it is saying that cannot connect to Docker. So Docker is not properly running. So for that, I have to search for Docker. I'm using Mac, so I have to start the Docker by opening its app. So this is how the UI will look like when it will be opened. The engine has been started. Now if you try to run the same command, it will not fail. So this tells Docker to build an image named my PHP app based on the instructions on your Docker file. So you can see it is downloading the layers to set up the PHP environment. Okay, it is done. Once it is done, finally start your container with the command docker run -p 8000:80 and my PHP app. So this runs a Docker container mapping port 8000 on your host to port 80 in the container, allowing you to access your PHP application by visiting localhost :8000 in your browser. So let's press enter. Remember, this step is optional. You can absolutely follow along with your existing PHP setup. Now let's cover the prerequisites for this tutorial. Now let's quickly test in the browser if it is working. So here I will use localhost 8000. Okay, right now there is no index.php file, so let's add it. And here I will add some basic code. Save it. Okay, in order to test it, we have to build it again. So let's build it. This time it would be much faster. Now if you run it again, you will be able to see the hello there. Okay. Remember, this setup is optional. You can absolutely follow along with your existing PHP setup. Now let's cover the prerequisites for this tutorial. You will need a few things. PHP installation. Ensure PHP is installed, running on your machine. Any version of PHP 7 or PHP 8 will do fine for this tutorial. A basic understanding of PHP and HTML is essential, as we will be diving into code fairly quickly. Have your favorite text editor or integrated development environment ready. Whether it's VS Code, PHP Storm or something else, it's important to have a tool that you are comfortable with. With Docker setup, if you choose to use it and these prerequisites checked off, you are all set to start integrating Tailwind CSS into your PHP projects. Let's get our hands dirty with some code. Now that we are all set up, let's dive into the heart of today's tutorial, installing Tailwind CSS into your PHP project. Whether you are building a new site from scratch or looking to spruce up an existing one, Tailwind CSS is your go-to for creating stunning websites efficiently. Tailwind CSS is a utility-first framework packed with classes like Flex, PT-4, Text Center, and more, allowing you to build custom designs directly in your markup. It's designed for developers who want to craft unique designs without battling overwriting styles or ballooning style sheet sizes. The best part, well, it's incredibly easy to customize, ensuring your site looks exactly the way you want it. Let's start by installing the Tailwind CSS in your PHP project. We will be using npm node package manager for this, but you can also use yarn if you prefer. First, ensure you have Node.js installed, as it includes npm. Navigate to your project's root directory and run this command to install Tailwind CSS and its dependencies. Npm, first of all, you need to run npm init -y to initialize the npm, and then run the command npm install tailwind css post css and auto prefixer. Press enter. I made a mistake here, so now press enter. This command fetches Tailwind CSS and its required plugins, adding them to your project. Next, we need to generate a tailwind.config.js file, which allows us to customize Tailwind's default setting. For that, run the command npx tailwind css init, and you will find that a new file has been generated, tailwind.config.js. You can modify this file later to tailor your Tailwind's design to your needs. Now let's create a CSS file where we will import the Tailwind CSS. So create a file named styles.css in the root directory in your project, and then add Tailwind base, components and utilities. These directives import Tailwind's base styles, components and utilities into your style sheet. To use Tailwind in action, we need to compile our CSS. So add a script to your package.json file to compile your CSS using Tailwind's CLI. Let's do that. Open the package.json and here add build-css and then add Tailwind CSS build CSS styles, and output directory would be public CSS styles. Okay, I will move my CSS file in the CSS folder like that. All right, this script takes your styles.css file, processes it with Tailwind, and outputs the final CSS to public/css/styles.css. So run it with this command npm run build-css, press enter, and you would notice that a public CSS folder has been created with the output file, and if you open it you will see that all of the Tailwind code has been added in it that we can now use. Okay, with Tailwind CSS compiled, the final step is to include it in your PHP templates. So this is how you can do it. Go to the index.php, and after the title I will add link tag with style sheet relationship, and then in href I will specify the path public/css/styles.css. okay, further you can manually copy the relative path by clicking on this button and paste it here. In this way you will not do any mistake of the path. Okay, now let's add some basic element with the Tailwind classes. h1 tag with text 3 XL, font bold and underline, press enter, hello world. Okay, now let's build the Docker again and run it again. Okay, it is now running. Now let's reload it. Okay, you can see as soon as I reloaded, the styles are working in my web page, and there you have it. A Tailwind CSS is now integrated into your PHP project, ready to take your design to the next level. Experiment with different classes, customize your configuration, and watch as your project transforms with minimal effort. Now that Tailwind CSS is integrated into our PHP project, so let's put it to good use by building a sample page. This hands-on example will not only solidify your understanding of Tailwind CSS but also demonstrate the power of PHP and Tailwind CSS combined. We will start by creating a basic PHP page template. This template will serve as the foundation for our sample project, demonstrating how to structure PHP files and templates effectively. So create a new PHP file. Let's call it index.php. I will get rid of everything from here, and this is your standard HTML structure. The link to our Tailwind CSS file is crucial here that we added earlier, as it allows us to use Tailwind's classes in our HTML. Organizing your PHP files and templates is key to maintain a clean project. For larger projects, consider separating your header, footer, and other reusable components into individual PHP files. This way you can include them in your pages with PHP's include function, keeping your code dry and manageable. Now let's create a file, header.php, and another file, footer.php. Okay, in the header.php I will add a header like that, and within that I will add some basic text, and I will add some classes, bg-blue-500 and text white and p-4. Okay, now let's create a footer. In the footer.php, create a tag footer. I just quickly, okay, footer has been created. In that I will add copyright like that, and in the footer I will add some Tailwind classes, bg-gray-700 and text-white, and padding should be 4. Okay, now go back to your index.php and let's add some content to our index.php and style it with Tailwind CSS. div.container.mxauto.px-4, and within that I will add h1 tag text-3xl font-bold dot underline dot empty dash 5. Press enter, and within that I will add hello Tailwind CSS with PHP, and after that I will add a p tag. Okay, and here in the paragraph tag I will add some classes, and I will type empty-3 text-gray-600. Save it, and now on the top I will include the header, and at the end I will include the footer. Okay, now we have to build it again, so let's run the npm run build-css. That will generate new styles in the style.scss file that are needed. Okay, and once that is done I will build my docker again. Once again, docker is totally optional. If you are not using docker, you can ignore this part now. So once docker is built, you can run it with this command and reload it, and you can see that there is a problem that in the content area we did not include the path that Tailwind should consider while building, so that's why it did not work as expected. So let's do that here. So here I will include all PHP files. Now let's build it again by running the npm run build-css command, and if you go there you will see more code now in it. Anyways, now let's build the docker image once again. Okay, and then run the docker. Okay, now reload it. Okay, you can see that now there is something very interesting. So this design is working because of the code, the classes that we added earlier. Notice how we use Tailwind's classes to control the layout and styling. The container, mx auto and px4 classes help center our content and apply the padding. The text-3 XL and font-bold and underline classes style our heading, while empty-3 and text-gray-600 adjust the paragraph's appearance. Tailwind CSS makes responsive design straightforward. So by using classes like SM, MD, LG, and XL prefixes, you can specify styles that apply at different screen widths. So let me quickly show you an example. So to this div, let me add a div here and add a responsive padding based on screen size. And now let's add some classes on it. Okay, and in that class attribute I will add bg-blue-500 and text-white and p-4 and sm:p-8 and lg:p-12. Save it. So now let's build it again. So I will run the command npm run build-css and now build the docker image once again, and now restart the docker container by running this command. And now if you reload it, we have this blue paragraph. If you reduce the screen size, you will see that the padding is being changed every time you change the screen size. Okay, efficiency is key when using Tailwind CSS, so familiarize yourself with the framework's utility classes to speed up your development process. Remember, customization is a breeze with tailwind.config.js file, allowing you to tailor the framework to fit your project's needs perfectly. And there you have it, a simple yet elegant page built with PHP and styled with Tailwind CSS. By embracing these tools, you unlock a world of possibilities for your web projects, making them more responsive, customizable, and visually appealing. With the basics of integrating Tailwind CSS into PHP under our belt, let's elevate our project by exploring some advanced techniques. These strategies will help you fine-tune your designs and interactivity and clear up and cater to specific PHP scenarios. Tailwind CSS is highly customizable, allowing you to tailor its settings to match your project's theme perfectly. This magic happens in tailwind.config.js file, where you can define your design system. So let's start by adjusting our theme. You can easily customize colors, fonts, breakpoints, and more. So let's open that file, and in the theme section, I will add some code in the extend block, add colors, and here I will add custom-blue, and then I will add custom dash pink, and then I will add font family property, and within that I will add sans, and I will pass an array, enter, and sans serif. Then I will create another one, serif. Okay, so here we have added custom colors and fonts to our theme. These can now be used throughout our project, just like Tailwind's default classes. Tailwind's extend feature ensures you keep all the default settings while adding your customizations on top. This makes updating Tailwind a breeze without losing your bespoke configurations. Now in your PHP template, we can use these custom classes just like any other Tailwind class. So let's do that. Go back to the index.php, and here instead of this one you can use bg dash, and you can see if you press Ctrl space in VS Code, it will show you the suggestions of the custom classes that you just added in the Tailwind configuration file. So you can see we have two options, blue and pink. So let's pick blue for now and save it, or maybe let's use the pink this time because blue was there already. Now let's build the project. I will build the Tailwind CSS file first, and then I will build the Docker image, and then I will restart the Docker server for me. Okay, now let's refresh it, and you can see that pink color has been added. So to make our Tailwind styled pages even more interactive, we can incorporate JavaScript components, whether it's dynamic dropdown, modal, or carousel. JavaScript can breathe life into our static pages. So let me quickly show you an example of adding toggleable drop-down menu. So let's go to the header, and let me just remove this one, and instead of that I will add div drop-down hidden. Okay, then UL will have two list items, and option 1, option 2. And then after that I will add a button, and within that I will add toggle drop down, and on the button I will add a click event on click, and we will call toggle drop down. And now let's define this function in a script tag. Okay, within that script tag I will define a function toggle drop down, and then I will create a constant drop down is equal to document dot get element by id drop down, and then drop down dot class list dot toggle, and we will toggle the hidden class. With just a few lines of JavaScript, we have added the interactive functionality to our Tailwind styled drop down. So let me just quickly build it and show you again. Build the CSS. At the end I will show you how to avoid these a lot of multiple steps, because right now we have to do a lot of things whenever you want to make a change. So we will improve that as well at the end. Now let's build the Docker image, and now run the Docker server again. Reload it. Okay, you can see that I made a mistake here, so I did not close the attribute. Now we have to build it again. Build the image and run the server. Reload it. All right, we have dropped down. If you click on that, nothing is happening. Why is that? I also missed a bracket here. Now let's try it again. So I have built the CSS and built the Docker image, and now running the server again, and now test it. Okay, now click on the toggle button. You will see that drop down menu is opening and closing. So with just a few lines of JavaScript, we have added interactive functionality to our Tailwind style dropdown. When integrating Tailwind CSS with PHP, there are few PHP specific techniques you might find useful. So PHP's dynamic nature allows us to generate Tailwind classes based on conditions or data. So this is particularly handy for things like error messages or form inputs. So let me quickly show you what I'm talking about. So go to the index.php, and here I will add an input class, and here I will add some dynamic classes in it, PHP, and within that I will echo errors name. If there is an error, then we will add border dash red dash 500. Otherwise, we will add border dash gray dash 300. And here I will add the type text and name is equal to name. Alright, save it. Here we are dynamically adding a red border to the input, and if there is an error associated with the name field, otherwise we use a natural gray border. So let me quickly add an error, because right now there is no errors variable defined, so we have to simulate that error by ourselves. Okay, so now you can see that there is no error, it is false, so it should not show any red color. So I will build my CSS. Okay, now I will build my Docker. Now I will restart my server and reload it. Okay, so you can see that we have border gray 300, but right now there are not other styles available, so this border would not be visible. So let me add a border solid, and let me add the width of the border. Okay, and now let's build it again. Build the Docker image, and by the way, let me quickly update the package.json to save my time. Here I will create another script, build, and here I will add all my shortcuts. So for example, first of all, we want to run the command npm run build css, and then we want to build our Docker image. So for that, this is the command that I would like to run every time, and then I want to run another command to start my server. So copy it, add the and operator, and save it. Now let's try it. Run npm run build. Okay, everything is done. It is building the image and it has started the server. Now reload it, and you can see the border is visible, but there is no gap. That's why it is not clearly visible, but you can see the gray border. Now I will set the error to is equal to true. So let's do that. Here I will set name is equal to false for the errors, and run the build command once again. Okay, now reload it. Oops, let me add the true to the errors and run it again. Okay, now let's reload it, and you can see that red border has been added. So here we are dynamically adding a red border to the input if there is an error associated with the name field. Otherwise, we use the natural gray border. Leveraging PHP in this way allows for more dynamic and responsive user experiences, making your application not only beautiful but also intelligent. With these advanced techniques, you are well on your way to creating sophisticated custom and interactive web projects using Tailwind CSS and PHP. Remember, the key to mastering web development is experimentation and continuous learning. Our journey to integrating Tailwind CSS into PHP projects, we have covered a lot of ground today, from setting up our development environment, whether through Docker or your existing PHP setup, to install Tailwind CSS and crafting a sample page that shines with Tailwind's utility-first approach. We dove into the nuts and bolts of Tailwind CSS, customizing it to fit our project's needs, and even touched on advanced techniques like using JavaScript components and dynamic class generation with PHP. The beauty of Tailwind CSS lies in its simplicity and power, offering you tools to prototype faster and craft customizable responsive design themes without the bloat. The practical benefits of integrating Tailwind CSS in your PHP projects cannot be overstated. You are not just making your development workflow more efficient, you are getting a foundation for scalable, maintainable, and beautiful web applications. Now it's your turn. Take what you have learned today, start applying it to your own projects, experiment with Tailwind's classes, play around with the configuration, and see how you can transform your PHP projects. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any of our future content. We'd love to hear about your experiences and answer any questions you might have, so don't hesitate to drop a comment below. For more resources and detailed guides, visit our website and check out the additional tutorials on our channel. Whether you are looking to deepen your knowledge in web development, PHP, or other CSS frameworks, we have got you covered. And stay tuned, we have more exciting tutorials coming up that will delve deeper into web development, exploring more PHP tricks, and uncovering full potential of CSS frameworks like Tailwind. Don't forget to engage with our end screen elements for more learning opportunities. Subscribe for future updates, share this video to spread the knowledge, and together let's build more beautiful, efficient web projects. Thank you for watching and happy coding.